Section 4.3 has to do with relations. There's different ways to show relations between the x and the y, and we've already talked about the ordered pairs. Ordered pairs always show how that particular x is related to that particular y. So that is the first way, is by ordered pairs. The second way is with a table. So I'm going to take these 4 points and show you on a table. You're always going to have an x and a y. And those points stay together. So -3 goes with 4, -2 goes with 0, 3 goes with 1, and 4 goes with -2. So the second way to show a relation is a table. So you have ordered pairs, you have a table. The third way is putting them on a graph. A lot of times with these, you'll go ahead and label these with letters so that you can put them on there without writing the actual ordered pair. So if I have -3, +4, remember you go over -3 on the x and up 4, so that would be A. You have -2, 0, so that would be your B. You have 3, +1, so that would be your C. And you have 4, -2, so that would be your D. So the third way to show a relation is on a graph. The fourth way is called mapping. These are your x values, these are your y values. Now, you do not repeat the values, and you want to write them from smallest to largest. So the smallest x I have is -3, then I have a -2, then I have a, let's see, 3, and a 4. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the y's. I'm not going to repeat, but the smallest value I have is a -2, then I have a 0, and then I have a 1, and I have a 4. Now I'm going to draw arrows from the x that I have to the y that goes with it. So -3 goes with a 4. So when I have a -3, that's the x. The y in this particular case is 4. -2 goes with a 0. 3 goes with a 1. And 4 goes with a -2. From this, often they will ask you for the domain and range. The domain is just the list of all the x's, and the range is the list of all the y's. So the domain here, I can just go down my thing, because again it needs to be in numeric order, smallest to largest, and none of the values are repeated. If they are, in this case none of the values were repeated, but let's say I had 2 4's, I'm not going to write 2 4's down here, and I'm not going to write 2 4's there if I have 2 x values that are 4. The range here, again it's easy to grab from your mapping, is 2, 0, 1, and 4. So try and put it in numeric order from smallest to largest. It's not necessary, but it is definitely widely accepted, because then it's easy to check and easy to see. All right, the other thing that you might have to do is you might have to write the inverse of relation. To do the inverse, all you do is switch the x and the y. So on this relation that we've been working on, the inverse would be 4, -3, so I just switch those two. 0, -2, 1, 3, and -2, 4. So I just switch the x and the y. So you got to be able to list a relation in all 4 ways, and also list its inverse, and also list its domain and range. So for instance, let's put some points on here. Okay, let's say I have those points, This is graphing, so I've got to be able to list the ordered pairs. They presented it in graphing. They showed the relationship in graphing. So I've got to be able to do it the other three ways. So ordered pairs, A is going to be -4, 1. B is going to be 0, 4. C is going to be 2, 1. And D is going to be -1, -4. So there's ordered pairs. Then I'd have to be able to do it in a table format. So X and Y, pull it down so you can see it, -4, 1, 0, 4, 2, 1, and -1, -4. Then you'd have to be able to do it in mapping. So I have two ovals, X and Y. Smallest value of X is a -4, then -1, 0, and 2. On your Y's, your smallest value is -4. I don't have to repeat the 1, okay, even though I have two of them, I just write it once, and +4. And then I use arrows from X to Y. So -4, 1, 0, 4, 2, 1. So it goes to the same value right there. And -1, -4. If they ask me for the domain, remember that's all your x's. So it's -4, -1, 0, and 2. If you've done your mapping right, it's very easy to give the domain and range. The range is all the y's, so -4, 1, and 4. If they ask me for the inverse relation here, I would just switch the x and the y. So then I would have 1, -4, 4, 0, 1, 2, and -4, -1. All right, your homework on this is page 209, 16 through 36. Let me put this back up and make sure you can read all of it. I don't know if I moved it down, so just take a gander at that. The top shows you the ordered pairs in the table, then the mapping, the domain and range, and then the inverse.